All right, today we're going to take a look at the chart of hip-hop recording star, professional victim, as well as professional liar, Megan Thee Stallion. Now, before all of you hotties and hot girls, or whatever they call them, before all of y'all jump in and start putting all of these messages on the page, let's get a few things clear. The first is that Meg admits again on camera.
Yes, I lied to Gail King. I know that you're gonna ask me about it.
How many times are we gonna catch Meg in a lie, or she's going to admit to lying before we call her a liar? The second thing is, y'all can post and say what you want to say on these comments. I really don't care about a lot of the negative comments that I've been getting. So with that being said, let's go ahead and dig into the liar, the professional victim, Megan Thee Stallion. Now, Meg starts off with Sun in Aquarius, and already we have this weird energy because Aquarius is always going to be eccentric, they're going to be weird, they're going to be different. But also, Aquarius is renowned for being selfish, for thinking about themselves. Aquarius also can be a bit humanitarian and can consider others, but they're also going to consider themselves more than likely first in most of those instances. Also, Aquarius is a born rebel. Aquarius is always going to go against the tide of what other people are doing. And also, even Meg admits in an interview that Aquarius can be friendly. They can be aloof, they can be a bit emotionally standoffish, but when it comes to what they are at heart, they are somewhat friendly. So initially, Meg doesn't start out with, such a bad rap when we look at the sun sign. But we dig a bit deeper. Let's get into that Moon in Leo. Now, Moon in Leo deals with her emotions. It also deals with her ego. And the deeper that we get into this thing, the more we start to see that ego is very important. You see, Moon in Leo likes their ego stroked, which is why when Shannon Sharp was rattling off all of these things that Meg has accomplished or whatever, she, starts clapping and jumping, and she likes the praise, she likes the adoration, she likes to get the good news about herself. Because Aquarius also has a God complex, but then you pair it with that Leo, and boy, that ego starts to get out of control. Ego is a real big thing when we start dealing with Megan. But Moon and Leo can be very warm. Moon and Leo can be kind to their friends. Moon and Leo is kind of the cool one among the clique. And they kind of unite people. They're kind of, relaxed and they entertain and they like their friends. And so with that pairing with that Aquarius, we're not so bad here, but that ego is a big thing. That's gonna be a buzzword the further that we go along. Now, once again, Aquarius strikes. We got Aquarius in Mercury. And with Aquarius in Mercury, we begin to understand that this is a person who can say things in order to start some nonsense. This is the type of person that'll put that slick comment in there just to see what's gonna happen in the friend group. Everybody else talking about vacation, and then they slide in, Tina, that man you were screwing last week, did your boyfriend ever find out about him? They come in with a sly comment that's gonna start a lot of nonsense. Not only that, this is a person who has a different view of the world. Their logic, their way of thinking and interacting with the world outside is different. And on top of that, Mercury in Aquarius likes to shock. That's what Aquarius is at heart. Aquarius is a shockster. They like to shock people. They like to say the one thing that's going, you're clutching the pearls now. They get off on that. So not only do we have this Sun in Aquarius, we got this Moon, this Mercury in Aquarius. And so with that, they got this clutch the pearl factor. Oh my God, how could you say that, Megan? How could you say you want to have a 50-man, whatever. So Aquarius is going to say the thing that's going to shock people. They love that. But then we get into something that men need to understand. For all of this hot girl talk, for all of this I'm shaking my booty and making money, we get to Venus in Capricorn. Now, Venus in Capricorn is definitely a money sign. Your Venus deals with your relationships and how you interact with others. So, when it comes to the relationship, she's looking for the finances. But also, with that Capricorn, we got two things that exist here. We got one, Venus in Capricorn can be negative about love, about relationships. And the second thing is that Venus in Capricorn can be boring. They can be routine. They can want to do it the same way over and over and over and over. They keep wanting to repeat the same thing because it's stability. Venus in Capricorn likes stability, stable guys. I know when I go to her, she gonna do the same thing over and over again that she was doing last week. Now, all of that hot girl talk, but when we get to that bedroom, when we get to those relationships, it is boring. Aquarius might switch it up and might, Aquarius is eccentric, so they might throw in, a shock and an occasional thing where, it's like, okay, let's do something different. But in that bedroom, it's boring. And that's one of the things that not only men have to learn, is that a lot of these women who are talking this hot girl nonsense, when you boil it down and you get them to that bedroom, the woman who's looking like a 10, and get all the booty and everything else, it's boring. And Tori found that out the hard way. And we're going to talk about Tori soon, but that's what he found out. Tori got in there and he was excited and he's smashing the yams, and she called again next week and he said, sure. And then she called again the week after that and he was like, all right, okay. And then she called again the fourth week and he was like, man, we do the same thing every week. Man. By fourth week, because she did it more than once. She definitely let him smash more than one time, because she's talking about being drunk and smashing, which means she probably lost count. A lot of y'all be losing count. But anyway, Tori got bored with it. It's the same thing. It's the same routine. No matter how bad she is, it's the same thing over and over. For all that talking, all that bragging you're doing, it is routine. It is boring. But then we get into something that I've spoken about earlier. We get into that Mars in Leo. Once again, we got Mars in Leo bringing that ego. Now, Mars in Leo is why she was attracted to Taurus. She likes a Leo. She likes a man that has his ego up, and he's egotistical, and he's cocky, and he arrogant, and he know he this, he know he that. She like that. But also, she is like that. Because your Mars sign for a woman says something about the man that you like, but it also says how you do things. And so Meg was definitely egotistical. Once again, we got that ego rearing its head when we talk about Meg and the Stallion. So ego is starting to be a real big thing. And that ego is going to add up the more that we keep looking, because there were some things that Meg was involved in that were done out of ego. And that's one of the things that is going to be one of the defining stories when we begin to get into Tori later on. Now, let's talk for a second about karma. When it comes to karma and you getting what you're owed for what you put out in the universe, Meg has Saturn in Pisces. And if you know about Pisces, Pisces rules what? Pisces rules the foot. And when Meg had this incident with Tori, where was she shot? Where did the bullet go? The foot. That lets you know that this was a karmic thing. Things that she was putting out into the universe were coming back in order to teach her a lesson. Because see, this is a lesson. When your karma comes back, the universe will show you through how things happen what exactly you did wrong. Saturn, the planet of lessons, the planet of structure, the planet of I will discipline you for your wrongdoing, decides to say, hey, this is going to happen to you so that you learn a lesson. You go for this type of guy. You get into these type of situations. You keep getting yourself involved with this. And so I'm going to strike back, and there's going to be something that happens to you through your foot. That's why she got shot in the foot. That was karma happening. Not saying that the event up into that was, 100% her fault or not her fault. We're not getting into that part. What I'm saying is that because of her involvement in that situation, period, point blank, there was some payback. There was some karma coming back to her for her involvement, for her role. Now, Moon in the 5th house. We need to talk about this because Meg has the moon in the 5th house, and I have always known, and every client that I've dealt with that has that moon in that 5th house, your 5th house deals with children, they are extremely fertile. And what's funny is that, who was that? That was Nicki Minaj. Nicki Minaj had, become pregnant, and she was posting and talking about being pregnant. And Meg Thee Stallion says that, she should unalive her fetus. And, once again, Aquarius being the shock, everybody clutched the pearls. And basically, she kind of reacted like, Nicki kind of reacted like, why did you say that I need to get an abortion? And it makes me believe with this high fertility in that chart, that Meg might have been given some advice that she's already lived out. Red flag alert. Now, with Meg, we got Sun opposition Mars. And with the Sun, that represents a woman's father in her chart. And so we got a woman that is hot-headed. We also got a woman that does things against men. And now we're starting to dig into a lot of the things that happened with Tori and why this was a red flag from the beginning. But with that father in that chart, this indicates that there are daddy issues. This indicates that she has anger, Mars, conflict. She has anger against men. She does things against men. She goes to war and feels like she has to compete, and she has continual conflicts with men. That's all across the board. Every time I've seen that, this is a woman that feels like she's Xena, and men have to be all of the dudes that try to attack Xena during the show. She feels as if she has to fight against men, and also she makes it her mission to go into conflict with men. But then we dig deeper into the chart because astrology always gives us a why. We got Sun square Pluto, and then we got Moon square Pluto, which deals with the Sun being the father, those daddy issues, but also we deal with the Moon, which is mama issues. Now, Meg's parents passed, and she was definitely traumatized by both parents. But also, there was trauma in her childhood and coming up from this chart. Now, this Sun and this Moon square Pluto means that there are control issues. That means that there is alcohol issues. That's why she drinks so much. That trauma, that anger, those problems that come out of her childhood, she is still suffering with those. Not only that, if ever there was a poster child for toxic femininity, this is it. Moon square Pluto still equals a controlling woman. This equals a woman who is jealous. This equals a woman who is obsessive. This is a woman who will definitely have some kind of revenge plan against men. Pluto is the planet of revenge. So this is the type of woman, when she's scorned, she's going to seek revenge. And Tori should have consulted an astrologer or someone in the know, because they'd have told him, don't make that move, big dog. Even if Tori decided to go ahead and go for it, he would have known and went in with his eyes open that this is the type of woman that seeks revenge because of her daddy issues, because of her alcohol issues, because of her trauma issues. All of that toxic femininity is going to come back to bite any man that decides to go in and deal with that if she ain't fixed that trauma. And this is a inborn, this is a deep trauma from both parents. Both parents did things to traumatize her as a child. So this is not something that's going to just come off easy. This is a lifetime battle for her. And Tori went in blind, not knowing what it is, and he's paying the cost for it. This is a traumatized woman. This is toxic femininity at its finest. Red flag. Next, we get into that dark side. You see, Meg has Lilith in Gemini. And what does that mean? That already starts out. We talked about Gemini, and Lilith means your dark side. So once again, Meg's dark side is that she's a liar. Is that she's two-faced. She shows one thing and does another. That's Gemini, textbook Gemini 101. Meg definitely lied about these situations, but Gemini, being a communicator, will definitely lie in a heartbeat. Meg lied in order to protect herself and not anyone else in the situation. That's what it is at heart. That's her dark side, is that she's a liar. And that's why these lies keep on coming out. She lied to Gayle King, lied to the police. All of these lies keep spilling out, and her team and her PR people keep running interference, and she keeps running interference so that the public doesn't pick up that she was lying the whole entire time. And so with that being said, Lilith in Gemini shows that her dark side is that Megan Thee Stallion is indeed a liar. Now, Moon Square Lilith, once again, we got toxic femininity times 2. Because Moon Square Lilith means that we got dark emotions, we got depression, but not only that, we got the type of woman that deep down is raging. It will go on a revenge tour. And what was Meg's moon sign? If you go back, it was Moon in Leo. So here's where Tory went wrong. When he pricked her ego, when he did what he did and he hurt Meg's ego, she decided right then this was going to be about revenge. I'm going to get you back. I'm going to hurt you the way that you hurt my ego. See, you hurt my ego by having other vaginas. You hurt my ego by choosing other women right in my face.
Oh shit, oh shit.
But at the same time, you did things to make me feel less than. You did things to make me feel as if I am not as important. I'm Meg Thee Stallion. Do you know who I am? That ego flared up. And that's what Tory did. He hurt her ego. He chose other women. He made other women a priority in her face. And she said, for that, I'm going on a revenge tour. I'm going to get you back for what you did. That's what this is. That's what the lies are for. All of those lies are payback. This is toxic femininity. And again, Tory walked right into the trap and didn't pick up any of that. And that's how he got caught up. Mercury trine Lilith. Again, we have someone who has the ability to be a slick liar. Mercury, planet of communications, in a good aspect to Lilith, her dark side, which is in Gemini, means that Meg is a gifted liar. For all of the times that she's been caught lying in this situation, people still believe her. And a lot of people just ran with the ball and believed her. And then when Tory came out apologizing, they only believed her more, even though in that apology, there is never a statement of guilt. There's never a, you know what, I did do that thing to her. There's never that in that entire phone call. But somehow, Meg began to use that and to flip that with her PR team to try to make it into a statement of guilt. But this is a gifted liar. This is someone who is skilled at lying and who is skilled at saying the right thing in order to get out of jams. So this is persuasion. And basically, Tory ran again into another issue where he didn't understand what he was dealing with. Jupiter, opposition Lilith. This is a person who runs too far with the lie. They take it way too far, and that's how they expose their card. You see, astrology just doesn't talk about what you do. Astrology does what that detective did on Don't Be a Menace, where he said, you know you done effed up, don't you? You know you done effed up. That's what happens when you have this Jupiter in a bad aspect to that Lilith. Meg messed up because she's going on interviews and she's going on shows talking about all of these different things, and she took the lie way too far. She had to go on Gayle, and then she overplayed her hand, and now she's caught on video saying, you know what, I lied to Gayle. She overplayed her hand and lied to the police, and now we got lies to the police. See, Jupiter has to do with doing too much. You did too much. Had you kept your mouth closed, people would have known a lot less. But you had to keep running with the lie. You had to keep on talking, and that's how you exposed yourself, because Jupiter does way too much. Jupiter says, oh, I'm not just gonna lie on you, bro. I'm gonna go lie on you on video, on camera, and then get it recorded. I'm gonna take it to the max. I'm going to take this revenge thing to the max. And with that being said, that's how she exposed herself. You took it way too far, and now you're starting to, expose the details of what actually happened. Pluto, opposition Lilith. And for all my fellas, all men need to listen very close. You see, Pluto has to deal with obsession. Pluto has to deal with control. Pluto has to deal with manipulation. But the number one thing that Pluto has to deal with, because Pluto rules Scorpio, Pluto has to deal with revenge. And when you deal with that, when it comes to the moon, this is the type of woman that has revenge fantasies. She kind of dreams about getting back at the men that hurt her. She has an obsession with that type of thing. You notice how she keeps ending up in situations where the guys who she's dealing with come back and they say something, and then there's a back and forth, and then she has to eviscerate and destroy him. Because of those daddy issues, Megan is living that stuff out all over again. She's living that trauma out with her daddy all over again, because this didn't just happen with Tori. It happened with Partisan Fontaine too. So, we got another guy who comes out and says that, hey, she lied. Our relationship wasn't like this. She made me look bad. And now Meg is again in the situation where she has to defend her lies and defend what she said. And also, she's having that fantasy of revenge on him. You see, this is toxic femininity. This is the type of woman that thrives on get back. This is the type of woman that thrives on you did me wrong, I'm going to do you even more wrong. Even if I'm lying, I'm going to use the jail system to get you caught up. I'm going to get you caught up in any way possible. Why? Because I got a vendetta. I got them daddy issues buried deep in me. And I'm going to make you pay not just for what he did, but what every man before him did to me. That's what this is. This is revenge taken to the next level. This is revenge taken to a higher caliber. And so the men that are dealing with her are having to pay the cost, not only for daddy, but all the other men that either didn't wrong her and she decided to move on from, or the trauma or whatever happened between them. Every man after that has to pay for that. This is toxic femininity in a nutshell. And this is how you get a woman that's lying all over the place and people believe her, is because we're in the believe her era. And this is not the type of woman that you believe. She is a skilled liar. And so with that being said, this is part one of it. And tomorrow we're going to deal with Tori, and we're going to explain from Tori's point of view exactly what happened. And also we're going to look at his chart. But this is obviously a liar, and there ain't no two ways about it. This woman is straight up a liar.